let's take a look now through this hands-on session on how to make a questionnaire. This is really crucial in the framework of lean market research, because you will need always to gather your own information, your own primary data, asking your audience or your selected audience about some specific points for your conducted research. So let's take a look at a concrete example and how to prepare the form, how to send it to your audience, how to convince your audience to respond to the messages, how to gather, how to respond to the survey, and how to gather the final results and report them. So we will go through this process. From end to end. So first things first. First thing is to create your own form. So here the tool that is used is Google Forms. So you go into Google Drive, then you right click on your mouse, and you go then into the survey or the form. Then you can of course add a title to your form. Let me just put it better than before. So here you can add your title. Here we will take the example of a survey that was conducted in the framework of assessing new marketing strategies for better marketing modeling and simulation software tools for engineers. So here, let's say you put the main name of your survey, modeling and simulation software survey. Then you are able to do in here your questions. So as we saw it during the course, the first thing is to start with what we call the screening questions, meaning asking your respondent what is his main profile from an age point of view, from a background point of view, whether he's a male or female, if this information is important to you during your survey, the age, of course, the educational background, etc. Then you ask the questions that you want to ask. So generally, you have to keep it brief, no more than 10 questions, really very clear and brief questions, so that your audience is engaged from end to end to answer to all your survey. If you do not that, then you will have uncompleted surveys or bad quality respondents. So here is, to avoid writing all the questions and all the answers during this session, for making it the most efficient as possible. So here what was done, I prepared the questionnaire, the one that was used for the complete research, and then we will also take a look at the results. So here I call it hands-on questionnaire preparation for the example, and it's an online survey for modeling and simulation software industry. So first, as you can see here, in all we have 10 questions that we will go through them. And as we said, we start by making the screening questions. So first, how old are you? Less than, than the different ranges of ages. Of course, there are other ways of asking the age of your respondent, but again, it's better to make it as simple as possible. Of course, we can add a text field so that the respondent can just write his own age, but it's really not very user-friendly. So it's much more successful among the respondents to have such multiple choices questions. So then, male or female, where are you located, very roughly. We can have, of course, much more precise information by making, for example, a list. We can, for example, so here it's very rough. We can, again, do it differently, but for the sake of this example, that should make it. And then the educational level, whether school, undergraduated, postgraduated, etc. Then come then the meat of the survey, where we have, so here in all we have 1, 2, 3, 4 questions for the screening, and the remaining 6 questions will be focusing on so will be focused on the main content, let's say, of this questionnaire, this survey. So the first one is, did you already use modeling and simulation software in your daily professional activity? Yes or no question. Where, so this one, we can delete it. So where were you trained on modeling and simulation software in the university? Same thing, yes, no question. Were you trained on modeling and software, modeling and simulation software in your job? Same thing, yes or no question. Then providing an information to the audience, modeling and simulation market size is evaluated at around $6 billion in 2018. What do you think? It can be much better, it's fair enough, it's too much. So the main objective of this study, just for the sake of the story, is the fact that modeling and simulation tools are, I mean, they have really a big potential in the market, but they did not yet reach a mature enough, let's say, marketing and commercial status among the users. And this study aims at unveiling what are the reasons behind it and proposing solutions to overcome that lack of deployment of modeling and simulation software in the market. So that's the main idea and the main goal of that market research, of this lean market research conducted in this case. Then the next question is the importance of modeling and simulation software for its users, whether the respondent thinks whether it's a must-have, whether it's only nice to have, or it's just a waste of time and budget. Then the last question is main added value brought by modeling and simulation software, whether he thinks it's saving budget through virtual manufacturing, it's minimizing time to market, or it's does it allow to explore new territories that are unreachable classically. So that's the idea. Once we have our survey ready, we can then share it, whether so by going into the share button here on the top of the form page. And then you have many tools and many different solutions for sharing it, whether directly from your email box, and this is not generally the way that I suggest or advise to do it, better to take directly. It's better to take directly the link of the survey, and you can even have that great feature among the Google Forms to shorten the link towards the survey. And then concretely, we take that link and then we put it into the email. For example, if you want to do your survey among your email list, you can put it, and this is the way that we did it for this research. We put it into Facebook ads, so inviting respondents for answering to the questionnaire by putting as link this link towards the form, and then people that are interested by responding to the questions, they just click the link and then they go through the questionnaire until filling it completely, and then we gather the results. Of course, there is a question here: what would be the motivation of the respondents to answer to the questionnaire, especially in the framework of the adopted methodology in here, that is do-it-yourself survey, kind of, and not a complete marketplace like Pollfish that we will see in the dedicated section afterwards, where the platform like Pollfish provides you with the respondents. Here you have to look for your respondents by yourself. So of course you have to have some incentives to your respondents. You can try out to just propose the survey to your respondents and gather the results, but I mean, for free, but generally that does not work very well unless you have an email list that is highly engaged with you, or you ask friends or colleagues, but you will not go far with just a small bunch of respondents. So here, what was used, we used here Facebook ads, in addition to what we call PLR products. PLR products stand for private label rights. The idea is to have access. Of course, you purchase such products. These are generally videos, ebooks, digital products in general, that you purchase not only the product but the rights for sharing and even resell the products if you want. And here the idea is to purchase such products that we think that can interest our audience. And there are a lot of sites for making this. You have to choose carefully your site, because not all the PLR products are of good quality. So we can make a section dedicated to this, because it's a course in its own. But the idea is to gather, let's say, these kind of products that you think that it's consistent with the audience that you're targeting, and that can be a good incentive for your respondents to take into account as reward for answering to your questions. So that's the idea, and generally these kind of products would cost something between $10 to $100, depending on your goals. But you have also to say that once you buy it, you buy it once and for all, and you can even reuse it, you can resell it afterwards. But here the idea, of course, is to provide it as incentive for free to your respondents. So this is the strategy that we have done, and it worked pretty well. We were able to gather the results that we were looking for. So really successful survey. And here you can take a look at the results that were gathered once all the respondents responded to this survey. So all these pictures, you can grab them directly from Google Form results. So once the survey is done, if I come back to my form in here, you have here the tab for the responses. Here, of course, we made a fake form, but once you have shared your real form with real respondents, then you can even afterwards export it into a Google sheet for further manipulations of the curves and the figures. So this is the way we have done it. And here then the idea is to gather the different figures, and you can put them, they have a pretty decent graphic design generally. Of course, if you are not fully satisfied with this, with Canva, one of the infographics software as a service that we will be using deeply, and that we use at datapros.ai, and that we advise highly for lean market researchers, you can gather the raw data and then repackage it into a much better looking designs if you prefer that. But bottom line here is that we were able to gather the data, the primary data, and this was one of the most impactful and most important results of the conducted study, because these are the facts that your customer is looking for, because these are fresh data, primary data that you gathered by your own, by adopting a given strategy. The one that was explained was adopted here. There are other strategies for gathering, for looking for respondents and gathering answers. One of them are the standalone solutions for performing surveys like Polfish that we will go through in upcoming sections. This is also a Polfish, and standalone surveying tools are highly very important. So this is in a nutshell what was done. Then I hope that it was very interesting for you. We never maybe outline it enough, but really online surveying is one of the game changers among lean market research, so it's very important to master it. So yeah, that's it in this section. Stay tuned. Don't hesitate if you have any questions or comments. I will be glad to answer to them.